NESL is a one-of-a-kind information utility. And you have the heavy responsibility of serving as an arbiter of truth. So in that context, how has digital identification enhanced your capability to do that?
Sure. Thanks, Meghna, and good afternoon, everyone. You spoke about information utility, so I thought I'll just make you and the panelists in the audience aware of what exactly is information utility. So information utility is, the creation was provided in the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. We are a regulated entity, we are regulated by IBBI. And if you see the regulator's webpage, it says that information utility as a concept has no parallel anywhere in the world. Now, I would have hesitated to use this word a couple of years back, but now that we have such unique Indian innovations like UPI, I can dare to say that information literacy also is a unique Indian innovation. But what makes this institution so unique? So, a couple of things. Firstly, any person can submit an information to the information utility. And just to clarify, information utility is a repository of information, credit-related information, similar to a credit bureau, but the differences is what I'm going to elucidate. One is, unlike the credit bureaus, any person can submit information. It is the banks, NBFCs, debenture trustees, but could even be a financial creditor or a private financial creditor. Now, if Meghna borrows some money from me, then I can also submit information to the IU. So what are the safeguards in place for this? The first safeguard is any person, whether it's an institution or individual who has to submit information, has to be identified. My panelists mentioned that we have various technologies now to ping a central database and verify the entity. The second very interesting aspect of what we do is any person who has to submit information, he has to submit with a digital signature. And third part is any information which is submitted to us, we present it to all the other parties to the debt. So what we submit is not just the submitter's version of the truth. We present it to other parties like debtors, guarantors, and they also can accept or dispute the whatever has been submitted by the creditor. So in that case, in that way, it is a very equitable repository. So all these aspects, which are very unique in nature, makes the information in the IU of evidentiary value. Now, who are the users of the IU and how it can be used? They are the banks. We give various kinds of alerts on occurrence of various events. It could help them in credit monitoring. In case they want to initiate insolvency proceedings, we also give a record of default. And then we also offer a fully digital document execution platform. And this goes in sync with our basic foundations of our creation, that it is a fully electronic repository and all data which is with us is submitted through a digital signature and authenticated and verified. So coming back, Meghna, to your original question, how digital identification has helped? In fact, digital identification has only facilitated setting up this institution. It is, in fact, I would say, an institution. It is an institution which is there for service to the nation. And if this remote onboarding through digital signature was not there, we would just not have been able to reach out to so many of our users. In fact, this Aadhaar OTP, one of our panelists has mentioned, it not just identifies, it is also a valid way of authentication or affixing digital signature. And because of this Aadhaar OTP, we are able to authenticate information, authenticate documents, digital execution is possible. And all this sits in a central repository. And because of this digital identification, any person who's authorized to access this information. So in fact, it is something like a DigiLocker. I think one of our panelists mentioned about DigiLocker. it is like a digilocker of documents and information, and it is stored in a secure manner. And I would also say, since we are a regulated entity, our regulators also come out with guidelines as to what are the technical standards required to store such sensitive information. So various parameters are in place. We have a data center which is like a bank. We are subject to audit by our regulators. And we ourselves are ISO 27000 2013 company. So all the safeguards in place to ensure that all the data and information which is us is safe and secure.
Great, thank you so much for that. What falls in the digitalization of identification, and what are some areas that remain untapped, and why do you think that is?
Sure, I'll deal with that, and after that, if time permits, I'll just respond to some of the comments of my fellow panelists.
Sure.
So, what I say is a challenge is also of huge benefit to banks. We talked of verification of digital identity. Now we have a beautiful system of Aadhaar, where when you're verifying the digital identity, Aadhaar actually verifies 4 parameters. And one of them is the name. Now, if you do 100% matching, so it'll almost invariably the transaction will fail. So we have to take the decision as to how much matching we need to do. Now, typically, for example, I'll tell you why it could fail. One is there could be differences in the name. 2 is, for example, if you are, say, Colonel, so you'll have Colonel in your name. But if you have 100% matching, it'll invariably fail. So you have to take that call as to how much level of matching you need to take. But although this is a challenge, but it's also a huge benefit in the sense that it also verifies your data from the Aadhaar database. So that is one part. Then the other usual challenges we have is, my fellow panelists talked about mobile OTP, biometric. So mobile OTP, one of the challenges is that connectivity is the issue. Sometimes the mobile is not linked to Aadhaar. Biometric is a beautiful facility. It can be there for anyone. Small value loans, biometric is very good. But the banks, one of the challenges is that how do you have the biometric reader? You need some mobile connection. So if mobile connection is not stable, so biometric reader will not help. And normally bank branches do not have a broadband connection on which the biometric reader can be run. Otherwise, biometric on a tablet-based facility through a business correspondent can work very well. The second set of challenges is related to legal entities. Individuals for Aadhaar entity works beautifully. Individuals for legal entities challenges, one is if it's a company, we have some data from the MCA database, but we need access through an API to do a real-time verification. But then what about other corporate entities? What about partnership firms? Majority of MSMEs are partnership firms. Partnership firms, proprietorships. So there are 2 challenges. One is, how do you verify the identity of the legal entity itself? And then even if you verify it, how do you identify who are the authorized persons who are signing on that? Now, this is the challenge, and I have one suggestion also how we can go about it. There's a concept of legal LEI, legal entity identifier. It has been introduced in a small way, but gradually we need to get this across so that every individual, every firm can have a unique identifier. I think RBI has issued some guidelines on LEI, but it's still not widely prevalent. But if you need to have digital onboarding, this LEI needs to be introduced at some point of time. Even now it is voluntary, but I think some regulatory push is required from that side.
Very honest and frank conversation. I think that candor is really the order of the day and moves us towards progressive and regulation that benefits all stakeholders in the ecosystem. Thank you so much.
Thank you.